Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of Gifted Monkey TV, all things toy and toy related. You know me, I'm your host, Jordan Preston. When we come back, we're going to take a look at a new figure from the guys over at Hot Toys / HONO Studios. And we're going to see, is there really an ironclad reason why you need this figure?
Respect the monkey!
Okay guys, in keeping with the promise of the awesomeness, here we are looking at the brand new Hot Toys / HONO 1/6 scale action figure of Iron Man, classic Iron Man, as he appeared during the early to mid 70s in that Iron Man uniform. This is a great looking piece so far on the box. Look at this artwork. That's really great. They got original comic book artwork of how Tony Stark appeared in Iron Man in the comic books in the 70s. This was his uniform. Very nice stuff. Let's take a look at this box. As we peruse down, we see we have HONO Studios right there. For those of you in the know or learning, HONO Studios is like a subsidiary of Hot Toys. Their dedication is to make quality 1/6 scale action figures with hot toy quality, but at a cheaper price point, and introduce some new stuff, infuse some new stuff, subject matter based on an old idea into Hot Toys properties. So that's very cool. So there we see we have HONO on the bottom down here. That's their logo. You have Iron Man written across here, a little indicia for Marvel right there. Over here on the side we have Marvel, a nice shadowed figure of the artwork of Iron Man's head. Iron Man, HONO again on the side. On the back, we have a nice shot of the figure. We have a nice shot of the figure wearing both masks. This is the super retro mask, and this is the normal mask that came out through most of the 70s. This came out early 70s. Iron Man wore this mask, and then through the rest of the 70s, he switched over to this one and pretty much kept this going until he switched over to a different uniform. But this they give you a nice full shot of that Iron Man. I'm so excited to open this up and see what this paint job looks like, how they did that. Right there, Iron Man on top, a lot of indicia from HONO and from Hot Toys on the bottom, going all the way down to the bottom of that. On the top of the box, we have Marvel Iron Man, and on the bottom of the box, what do we have? Same thing, Marvel Iron Man. This box is very unique. Also, HONO Toys makes different boxes, so they're not just a cookie cutter of Hot Toys. They have their own little niche in what they do in their marketing and in what their display of their product. Their box is different. Look how it flips open like that. Very nice. Comes with a two-parter like that. Speaking of box, let's crack this box open and see what we get. So this box flips open. Two-parter, look at that. And inside we get an instant view of our classic Iron Man figure. Also get an instruction booklet. We'll put that to the side. And there we get Iron Man figure with the alternate faceplate, the faceplate that comes on it, which is the traditional. Everything, get two sets of hands, that's it. And the two side rims. And that's it. That's your accessories for Iron Man. And let's open the box and see what it looks like. There he is, boys and girls, outside of the box. Iron Man in all his muscular, classic armor glory. This is fantastic. This guy's kind of heavy. He's got a little heft to him. He's so heavy he can stand on his own. His boots have nice weight in them. He can stand on his own without a stand, no problem. Let's take a quick peruse around and then we'll check on the accessories. Limited though they are, let's see what we got. This is the back of him. Very comic book accurate Iron Man. Look at that. Looked like he flew right out of the pages of the 1970s. And this is nice. This is nice. Right out of the clamshell style box, we get this Iron Man right here. First, let's check our accessories. We'll come right back to Iron Man. Before we get deeply into the accessories, I want to show you something cool here. Look at this. This is part of the box. Once you take Iron Man's clamshell portion out, that's part of the box. They show you who's responsible for the HONO Studio figure. Nice little red that looks almost like Target. But inside the box, the actual box, is a direction palette. Look at this. It shows you the directions of everything, even how much he can bend, so you don't overbend your figure, because it has that rubbery body on it. So it shows you that, what you can do with that, how far you can gap the legs, everything. Nice picture of Iron Man here. Shows you all that stuff right here on the side. Bottom, it tells you some stuff, but in another language. And on the top, it shows you his accessories. Very nice. Now, speaking of the accessories and this box, they do something here that I don't know that a lot of people are going to do, because it destroys the box. If you want to keep this box for collector purposes, resale purposes, or aesthetic purposes, this will mess with your box. The stand that they give you with Iron Man has a backing to it. It's a real nice backing, kind of smooth. It's a flat back, black backing. And you have the ability on the other side of the box to cut out this original comic cover of Iron Man when he first introduced this version of his armor, early 70s. And you see a little scissor indication up here that tells you can cut that around, but it will destroy your box. There's no doubt about it. You will be destroying your box. So it's up to you. You can just go to the store and buy a comic book and put it in here and have the same effect, and go to a store and get a cheap comic book of Iron Man in the 70s, because not all the 70s Iron Man comic books are expensive, and just put that in as the backdrop. You don't have to cut into your box. But if you cut into your box, just know you're losing that right there. There you go. See that? All right, let's look at his accessories. As we said earlier, Iron Man didn't come with a lot of accessories, but he came with some very cool accessories. One is one of the interchangeable faceplates, the first original interchangeable faceplate based on his armor mask before he switched to this more permanently in the 70s, the other one. This was the first prototype, and then he switched over to the one we kind of know in our heads as a more permanent one. It comes with also two hands. These hands are good because they actually can shine the light through here. They're translucent plastic in there with a yellow tinge. So they shine the light in there. Very nice. And I like the way they're articulated in that nice static pose like that, action-y pose. Now the fingers do not bend at all, but they're rubbery, so you can ply them around. I guess if you took a heat gun, you could probably get them into a different pose, a little slightly different than this, but why would you want to? There's a nice static pose right here like that. It's hard rubber. Goes right into the slot. As you see again, they're hollow because there's little bulbs attached to his arms that light these hands up. We'll get into that in a minute. Both hands are kind of posed the same way in that static shooting the repulsor way look. Both repulsors light up. And you get these magnetic side pans. These pans go right onto his side like he looks in the iconic look of that 70s Iron Man armor. You get two of those, and they're magnetic again. So you just stick them right on the side and they hang there. You get some batteries. They give you batteries for this. This is very good. Now, full disclosure, I already took the batteries out for this Iron Man, and I did save you the trouble of seeing me struggle to put those batteries in. So these are very small batteries, and they go into the forearm and they go into the chest plate. They give you enough batteries for both, and you can actually have two batteries left over. So there you go. They give you this great stand. Stand is very neutral in look, because once Iron Man's on it, I guess his color's so vibrant that you don't need much else. And if you have that comic book backdrop going on, you don't need much else. Comic book backdrop that we spoke about earlier is right here, and that would go on, that would slide right in to a groove that's here and sit up there like that, and you'd put the comic book in there. So there you go. Let's look at the figure. Iron Man comes in that classic Iron Man 70s styles we spoke about earlier, and it is so true to form, it looks great. You get these hands that come default on him, which are fists. He gets 2 punching fists like that. Now, this is rubber. It's latex. It's like one of those bodies that you use when you want to have a muscular body and you buy a separate muscular body to put on your figure, or put with your figure. It's like that, but it's squishy a little bit. But I guess they made it in actual gold. They poured the dye and they poured the mold with gold of this particular material, this rubber. So it's not painted on, it's not, so it won't flake. It's part of it. But it gets nice. You can see right there. There's the bends. So you get this bend up to about here. And you see, because it's rubber, it's going to have that little rubbery look. So be very careful how you do it. Now, this is experimental for everybody. So I don't know in a year or 2 years or more, if this is going to flake, come off, start to tear, whatever, because usually these rubber type bodies eventually start to tear. They start to just tear from where? Just from being there. You don't even have to pose them very much and play around with this. But eventually, in my experience, these rubber type of bodies, they just start to slowly get little rips in them. Doesn't mean this will, and it doesn't mean it'll do it immediately. It might take a while. Since the hand fell off, let's go right to this hand thing. Now, as you see this hand, there's a little light bulb in this hand right here. And it's in both hands, as a matter of fact. And that's because the light comes on. When you take these magnetic side pieces and you rub them like this, it activates the light. And you rub them on either side, it'll activate the lights. And the lights stay on again till you hit this again, and then it takes off the lights. If I can find that right. The thing is finding the right, there it is, right there, the right moment and the right alignment to do that. There we go. And then we pop the hands on like so. Would be nice if it would be the right hands. There we go. You see that? I told you I already took the liberty to put those batteries in, and I'll show you how they go in a minute anyway, so you'll know. Put the hands in, and then we do the same thing with the chest. Get that little tap going. Oops, sorry. Get the little tap going. There we go. And it lights up. Then we put these right on his side. And they stick on his side just like they did in the comic book. And there we have it. If you look close, you can see Tony's eyes through there. That's such a great addition, because they could have frosted that over so you couldn't see any eyes at all. But they didn't cheap out on it. They put eyes on in him. But let me show you how they did it. You do the head swap. You just pull the head off. Take the mask off by putting your fingers in. And just dig the mask off. It's connected through his nose. Looks like a ninja, doesn't he? But this is a fixed piece. This piece does not come out unless you break it. But they got the nice little glass eye, shiny eye effect, known for Hot Toys. So they put that in HONO figure. But he has a very animated / comic book style face. If you notice, doesn't look human. It looks kind of animated / comic book style. And then you just take the this face swap, snap it right on like that into that nose piece. And there you are. And then once again, you can still see the eyes. You see Tony's eyes in there, shining away. I like this one because it has a little grill piece in it. And that's not painted on, that's an actual little engraved grill piece. They actually made a grill piece in there. So it's not painted on like a grill piece. It is a grill piece. And then you just take the head, put it back on, snap it in, and there you go. Bob's your uncle, as they say. Let me get that in here. Okay. Nice. You know, I always thought automatically when I was waiting for this thing to be shipped that I would use this mask automatically because it's the default 70s Iron Man mask that you think about when you think about Iron Man in the 70s. But this late 60s, very early 70s mask version that he had as a prototype, I'm kind of liking it. It gives me a real retro feel. That's very nice. I like it. Anyway, moving on. All this is plastic. This is hard plastic, just like any other Iron Man figure you would get from Hot Toys. Some is hard plastic and it's sculpted done. Sculpted done. This is hard too. Now, some of the Iron Man pieces from Hot Toys, this is like a soft rubber too, so it makes it more malleable when you move it, but it isn't. So you be very careful when leaving this crease when you bend this leg in a pose. Be very careful for leaving it in that pose for a long period of time. Like I said, this is all new territory for Hot Toys and HONO with this colored rubber. So we don't know how it's gonna go. But his waist will twist like that. You get a full rotation of the waist if you want to bring them all the way around. Full rotation of the waist. I just lost this side piece. There we go. The upper chest part has a bend to it, so you can rotate up here. There's like a little butterfly action on his shoulders in his chest. So you can move it around forward. Nice delts. Arms go up about this much. And then you see this stuff come around. This is the protection stuff they give you with it. Arms go up about that much. Now remember, when you put the arms up about that much, you start to see into the behind the scenes, see how the sausage is made. And you probably don't want to do that in your display. So just keep it at a nice level like that. Head goes back about this much. So you can get an up-looking pose. If you bend him back, you can get a really nice up-looking pose, a flying pose. Same if you bring the head down, goes down nice down. And if you bring the torso in, you can get a nice landing pose, looking down, attack pose, anything you want like that. Again, be careful because you get to see how the sausage is made if you bend him in too much of an extreme. There we go. And there we go. Now, if Hot Toys is still true to form, even though this is a collaboration with HONO, these batteries and these hands in this chest are not going to last super long. Hot Toys is notorious for not having their batteries last too long. So I wouldn't just leave them on like that in a pose. I would put them on sometimes and not put them on other times. Leg goes up about this much. Nice ratchet in the knee. And bend all the way back. But once again, because it's rubber, you kind of get that cartoony feel if you bend it too extreme. But you get nice musculature around here. That's great. And that's great. That's one of the great benefits of having a seamless body. You get nice musculature with no break in the line. That's fantastic. One thing they did not do is put any detail on the bottom of his footing. Because, of course, Iron Man would have those boots with the rockets coming out, so there'd be some type of holes or some type of rocket exhaust escape right here on the bottom of his shoes, but there isn't, and that's okay because, like I said, first time for HONO. We're gonna give them a pass on some of these things because they're just getting started. This is HONO's third action figure. I think they have a Magneto that came out and one other figure that came out before Magneto. And this is one of their first tries. And this is the first time they've used this color application in their body portions, in the rubber. So that's kind of interesting. Great detail on him. Great sectionaling. I love it. What do you guys think? You guys like that? And once again, we can turn the lights out by just hitting it around here. Let me get this going, hitting it around here. Doing this left-handed ain't working. So let's do it with two hands. There we go. And that's the thing you're going to have to do. Don't laugh at me, guys, sitting there in your rooms, because you're going to have to do the same struggle of feeling and searching to find those lighting mechanisms when you get yours to see where they go. But other than that, it's a pretty cool figure. This figure, because it has an animated style in it, I'm thinking of combining him with my Captain Carter, because she's animated, but she has a comic book feel to her too. So those two together, storming into a time surge, multiverse, where she exists when he exists, even if she's just passing through, which she does a lot in the What If animated series. She goes to different time wormholes because the Watcher uses her as a guardian. So she visits all type of times and places. So it's very possible in that universe. So I'm thinking of using that, putting Captain Carter in there. She works up as a nice pairing with him. I like it. Nice. So I just wanted to show you, Iron Man gets these batteries right here. Comes with the figure, which is fantastic. These little batteries. And you get 2 for his chest gauntlet, which is easily removable from that port right there. Goes right back in there with a twist. And you get 2 for each of his arm gauntlets. There we go. For his hands to light up. There's the port for that. And you need a very small screwdriver, letting you know. You need a very small screwdriver, probably a screwdriver like this size one. This is one they use for eyeglass repair. And I got this real cheap from like a 99-cent store, so you don't have to spend a whole lot of coin to get that happening. But you will need that if you're going to put those lights in there. So there they go. And then the lights light up with this magnet feature from the side pans that he has on his side right there. They're magnetized, but they also light up when you touch it on the front of his chest. They light up like that, nice and bright. And we'll show all that stuff in a minute when it's connected back in. But it's real easy to put it back into that port and take this off and do the same with that. Okay, let's continue on. Yeah, this guy's the keeper. I like the way he looks. If you like that retro style Iron Man, this guy from the comic books, he's a nice keeper. I like it how they kept it true to form, to like the Iron Man in the comic books. There's not a lot of hyper detail at all. These are just simple things. Almost like a drawing of Iron Man. Very simple. Not a lot of deep shadings, deep colors, but the paint apps are really great. I love the yellow molding. That's fantastic. That's a plus. Great articulation for this guy for most poses. I like the musculature of the sculpt. Very nice. The hand, I like the hand sculpts for the repulsor waves. That's very good. That almost looks fine actually, because it looks like there'll be an extra piece of protection coming out of his armor. Doesn't look bad when you overextend that arm like that. There's a little bag gap for you to get the best in his turning. Once again, this guy doesn't really need a stand if you find a good place to put him, because he's heavy on the bottom, on his legs and feet. That he actually, and his feet are flat-footed with no detail on the bottom of his soles, so he actually can stand flat-footed very well. But he did great sculpting. That looks like the comic book boots. And once again, those eyes inside the helmet look fantastic. I like that. Very nice Iron Man. Good. Also, almost forgot, you need to know that his feet pivot like this, but that doesn't look very, again, because of the rubber aspect, doesn't look very appealing, but you can get that, and you get that pulled back there if you want a flying pose, landing pose, falling pose, like that. There is no toe articulation. It's all solid in here. Rubber. This is all rubber, except for this, which is plastic. And the same with the right foot. Get down about that much, up about that much, and no articulation in the toe at all. Well, and there you go. Today we took a look at the 1/6 scale Hot Toy / HONO Classic Iron Man. This guy is all kind of awesome. I love the certain things they did on this, that they used that plastic, that yellow molding in the rubber. That's fantastic, and it gave him a great body sculpt on his arms and legs, all that detail in his legs and stuff. I like the nice, clever way that you can access and activate the lights in his hands and in his chest armor with the magnets in the sides of his side plates. I love that. I love that he's, in a way, I love that he's flat-footed because he can stand on his own without a stand. And I'm a guy like to pose my figures without the need of a stand, if very possible. And I don't like that they didn't put any detailing on the bottom of his boots, like the rocket exhaust or anything like that. Just in case you wanted to do a landing pose, coming for a landing or anything like that, the bottom of his feet would be kind of bare and it look kind of weird. But other than that, I think they did a great job. I love that you can see the eyes through the mask. That's a great little touch that they did. And it's very comic book accurate, and they still included the shininess in the pupil and the eye. That's very, very great that Hot Toys did that and still kept the comic book accuracy and aesthetic of it. I love that this is a very well detailed comic book. They really did well with the source material. They gave you plastic elements all over the place here. The toes don't bend. I understand why, because it would break the line. If you notice, this is all through a line. There's no creases and bends anywhere other than what the body creates. There's no cut lines for a articulation anywhere in this guy, except for on his back, and you don't see that. So that's very nice. Once again, we don't know what's going to happen with this rubber, because a lot of those rubbers on the bodies that you can order, the rubber bodies, those bodies tend to start to crack and peel after a certain while, and they get gaps in them. And that's what happens with those bodies. So we'll see what happens with this body. Hey, HONO is taking a chance. They're trying something new. I'm on board for it. What do you think about their point of reference? They're using, HONO is doing all the comic book versions of the superheroes that we know and love in Marvel. So right now they did Magneto, they did one other guy before that, right down the bottom, let me know who it is if you know. And then this is their third venture out, which is this Iron Man, classic Iron Man from the comic book. He looks great. I'm glad that they included this really early, late 60s, early 70s masked version of him, so that you can replace that and cherry them off. In the beginning, I knew I was going to use this, but then I saw this now, and this really looks fantastic on him. I like the way that mask comes off on him. Very good. I like the light up features. I like that you can turn them on and off with the pods on this side. That's very easy and very nice to do. And that the lights stay on for a long time until you take them off yourself, which is good. Posability on this guy is great. Just can't be too extreme with him. Other than that, I think he's good. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Write down below and let me know. Do you like this Iron Man figure? Do you like Hot Toys and HONO doing this collaboration? We're doing the classic Marvel stuff, because I can't wait to, as they go down the line, if they give me a classic Captain America with the wings and scallop boots and all that stuff, that's going to be awesome. I might even build a retro era Avengers from the comic books with this type of stuff, because it looks very cool. And without that line of articulation in it, I love the way that looks. Let's see what else. I like also that this guy stands alone, because I'm a guy that doesn't like to necessarily put a stand on my figures, and he's so bottom heavy on his legs and feet that he stands easily and effortlessly alone like that. What do you guys think about the price point? This guy will run you about $225 for a 1/6 scale, fully articulated, great detailed action figure. That's pretty good. Now, a tax and license out the door, probably running about $250. And at the time of this viewing, we have something called tariffs that are happening around the world right now, which are affecting the pricing and the extra taxes of everything. So who knows what that'll do in your neck of the woods. But right now, out the door, you can probably get this guy for about $245 to $250. All said and done, which is a good price point, because you know any Iron Man from just Hot Toys will run you $290 on up to $450, right? So that's a little insane. But this guy is a nice entry price point to collecting figures, especially for younger people who want to collect action figures but don't want to spend $400 on an action figure yet, or can't spend $400 action figure, but they can muster up $250 or so. This is a great entry point. So I think he's very cool. Write down below and let me know, guys. Do you like this Iron Man? Do you have a HONO/Hot Toys figure? Are you going to plan on getting any of them? Do you have a wish list of what they would do? Because even right now, they're still doing the comic book figures based on HONO and Hot Toys. Write down below and let me know. Thanks for joining us. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up if you feel so inclined. Also, subscribe. We're building a nice channel here for you guys, and I'm so grateful for all of your support. Thank you very much. And remember, collecting toys and figures, even a 1/6 scale, Hot Toys, HONO, classic Iron Man from the comic book series of the 70s can be as fun as a barrel of monkeys. But respect the monkey. Play nice. Take care, guys.